So what we're going to start off with is a really basic look at hammer-ons and pull-offs. And if you don't know how to do a hammer-on or a pull-off properly, I recommend you go see a Justin guitar video or an Angie guitar video or whatever you like. So have a look at that, and once you do that, come back. We're going to look at exactly what I mean by these Mordents and how you can use them in your music. Hello everyone. Hello. Brett here. So today in this video we are going to be talking about gruppetti, trills, mordents, that sort of thing. So like anything that is Italian, these things are often misused or misnamed, if you will, and some people call it trill or mordent or whatever it is, so they mix them up. So we're gonna try to look at that a little more closely and then see what kind of techniques we can use to make it sound awesome on the guitar. Alright, so real quick, the hammer-on is where you pluck the one string and then you hammer or you tap into the fret that you want to have sound. So say I just pluck the second string here of the 3rd fret, I pluck it with my pick, and then I hammer into the 5th fret with my 3rd finger without picking the string again. So I pick once, hammer, and then that's the sound. Cool. The pull-off is the opposite of that, so I place both of my fingers down on the guitar at the same time. I pluck this string and then I pull it down. The thing about hammer-ons and pull-offs is that we often teach them with the 2 strongest fingers. So the finger combination of 1 and 3 when you're doing your hammer-on or your pull-off works really well. But a lot of the times you have to actually practice doing hammer-ons with different finger patterns. So the next easiest or best is with 2 and 4. And then the hardest one is with 3 and 4. But you actually have to practice all of those. 1 and 4 is not very common, and I don't recommend 1 and 4 when you're only doing a space of 2 frets. But you have to practice doing hammer-ons with 1 and 3, and then you also have to practice doing the pull-offs with those other different finger combinations. And make sure that they sound just as good as they would if you were doing your strongest fingers. The other thing is when you're going to do the pull-off, you can't just leave away, like you can't just remove the string because the sound will be a little bit weak. I suppose it doesn't sound too bad, but it doesn't sound as strong as this full pull-off does. So then later on we figured out that we could combine the hammer-on and the pull-offs, and then we get this, the Mordent sound. And then this, I think you find this as often as you do hammer-ons and pull-offs. So if you're going to learn hammer-on and pull-off, it's pretty much basically you should do the combination as well, the Mordent sound, because you're going to see it often. And you can also have this Mordent, but this we mostly hear in classical music. Anyways, so this one, you can hear it in Under the Bridge where it's this. Let me do that again. You can hear it in Under the Bridge where it does this. So that's this sound. So where you have that Mordent sound. This time it's done with fingers 2 and 4. So you can see I've been practicing it with 1 and 3, but you can also practice it with 2 and 4 and 1 and 4. There's different finger combinations that you can use. You see it in Under the Bridge. And you see it in a whole bunch of things. Later on, Gypsy jazz guitarists figured out that they could use this effect to add a little bit extra spice to their licks. See, what it does is it lets you touch a note or an alteration that's not part of the chord, and it lets you add that to your mix, and it lets you give that extra, jazz manouche cigar French smelling sound to your music. So check out this Gypsy jazz lick that I created using this Mordent effect. Pretty cool sounding, hey. So this is all well and good if you want to do single note soloing, but what happens if you want to add extra notes while you're doing a hammer-on? This is where the extra techniques of when you've practiced with doing hammer-ons with those weaker fingers, this is where the technique of doing that really helps. So say, and you're doing like, say, if you want this effect, you really have to practice using the pinky finger and that sort of thing where you've got the finger down on the note and then you've got that. Anyways, you really have to practice your other finger combinations basically. The example that I'm going to take is from Little Wing this time. So it's this part that goes like here. And It's swing, not
straight.
All right, let's try it again with swing eighth notes. So there's two different ways that you can approach this. All right, so with Little Wing, we're up here at the 7th fret, and we start off with, so we start off with this, where I have to hammer on and pull off. That's my combination, and I need to have an extra finger on at the same time. Okay, so as you can see, what my solution is to have the fewest number of fingers on the guitar as possible. Okay, so the fewer fingers you have, the easier you're going to make it for yourself. And the first finger is quite acrobatic here, so I can jump over here, and that's not a problem at all to finish doing this. So I don't think you should really sacrifice your sound and, you know, really try to have the bar chord and then do this and then really suffer. If you can't get this clean sound, this Mordent sound clean without doing a bar, then just, you know, take the bar off and then have the fewest number of fingers on the guitar as possible. That's always my solution. All right, later on when you have to do the hammer-on part, you have to do the hammer-on with your 3rd finger here, and you need to keep the bar. You don't have a choice. But this is the best of all worlds of having more than one finger on the guitar, because the bar is the strongest, the index is the strongest finger, the most acrobatic one, and then you can hammer on with one of your other strong fingers. So it's not too bad. Pull-offs or hammer-ons with the bar, it's the next best thing. But if you have to do it, take the bar off, remove everything, and then just do your Mordents like that with no bar, with as few fingers as you can, and then after that you add everything else. So again, the basic one. And then after that, if you want to add the bar to do this, you can do it with the bar the whole time, but don't feel that you have to. So once you've gone on and you've learned your single note solos and you spiced everything up with those Mordent sounds, and then after that you've gone and you've learned how to do hammer-ons and pull-offs with extra fingers on the guitar and the bars and everything, like really solid stuff. So good job. Then Tommy Emmanuel comes along and he does something like this, or he'll do something like this. And it's like, what's all that about? Well, I'm gonna tell you what that's about. But first, you need to click on the like button and subscribe to the channel. So, have you done that? Have you clicked on the like button and subscribed? Good. Alright, so the bit that I just played is from Angelina, and it's the part that's at like this part here. He explains it in his instructional video that he's doing a trill.
I'm doing a little trill there. Then I go again.
But as we know, it's not really a trill. It's actually more of a Grupetto or a Mordent because of the way that it goes. It's more like, and it's a combination of using hammer, hammer, and then pulling something off. So it's not just doing just a hammer, a simple hammer pull off, but it's actually hammer, 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 and then pull off. Well, play, hammer, hammer, pull off. So 2 hammer-ons followed by a pull off. That's one way of approaching it. His way of approaching it is after doing the hammer-on, which he does with his pinky finger, he slides his pinky finger. So that's the other way of doing it. So what you do is, what Tommy Emmanuel does is he replaces a pull off with a slide for the pinky finger, sliding back like that. So you start off with a regular hammer-on, easy enough, but then this part here is a slide back with the pinky finger, which should, for him, it sounds just as clean as a pull-off, but for me, not as clean. I'm not as good as doing that. I fake it a little bit, and it takes a lot of practice to make it sound really just as good as one of your pull-offs. But that's what it is here. So he's achieved this sound just by doing, achieved a pull-off sound just by doing a slide. Now, one thing you can do is actually do a full real pull-off, like this, if you have your fingers that permit to do it. So what you can see is I've done a hammer on here, and then a pull-off with one of my other fingers, and I just replaced the other finger with my second finger. There's some areas where you can't do it, like in the lick that I had this. that's at the end where he does an actual hammer-on slide because these other two fingers are in use. Okay, so I do my hammer and then slide back, but I cannot replace it with this. I'd love to, but I have to get rid of a note. If I do that, I get rid of this note here, and the chord doesn't sound as full. So you have to basically practice. Yeah, you have to practice doing the slide if you want the chord to sound as full as it does. If you need to have a really, really strong pinky finger to be able to do slides like that, and that's the way that he approaches it. I prefer to do as many hammer-ons as I can because I find that my sliding pinky finger isn't totally clean. I can get it in this example most of the time. Yeah, because it's a very, very fast example where I have to hammer and slide, but most of the time, and I need these other fingers to be doing that chord, but then most of the time I'm going to replace it with the actual fingers. I'm not going to do the slide. Yeah. Okay, so what you have to do here is the way you're going to practice it is just remove as much as you can, remove the bar. And what it is the finger, the pinky finger here that hammers into the 5th fret, slides over to the 6th, and then slides back to the 5th. This effect. And it should sound, again, as clean as if you were using 3 separate fingers. It's hammer, hammer, and then pull off. So play this note, hammer, hammer, pull off. That. And then you practice doing it as a slide. And now to make it even trickier, you have to add an extra finger, this 3rd finger here. And it has to sound just as clean, and then to make it even trickier, you need a full bar. And then you're expected to make it sound just as clean as that. So if you cannot, or if you have some difficulty doing this, or you want a different method, the method of replacing it with the finger works in this case. So in this case, you replace your 3rd finger with the 2nd finger, keep the bar here, and here I'm doing my hammer, hammer, pull off here with the 3rd and the 4th fingers. So here, when, yeah, so here I find I can get the ornament to sound a lot cleaner when I do this way rather than the sliding method, which I get like it works, but I have to fake it a little bit to sound just as clean. The disadvantage, of course, is I have to stretch here, but yeah, so those are the 2 ways of doing that ornament where you replace these crazy pinky slides with a hammer-on and a pull-off. Anyways, let me know what you think. Are you an expert on the sliding and the hammer-ons with sliding with your pinky finger, or are you good at just doing hammer-ons and your slides aren't that good? Or something in the combination, or what's your solution? Let me know in the comments. That's it, that's all for the video today. Once again, make sure that you like the video by clicking on the like button and subscribe to the channel so you get more updates. Check out my website and check out my Facebook and Instagram page. And that's all for today, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.